أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما محمد وآل محمد ثم السلام على آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم الأجمعين إلى يوم الدين صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجهم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المجيد وفرقانه الحميد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قد أفلح المؤمنون صدق الله العظيم صلوات اللهم صل على السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. So to start off with, we've been looking at these 13 different qualities of one who is a mu'min. Kadafla al-mu'minin, done deal, we're there. Okay, there's no doubt about it. If you can do that tick box, then we're done. So the 13 signs we had. But before I go into that, it's my last day with you, and thank you for the opportunity. But I need to go through feedback. Now, when it is individual feedback, I can forward it to the people concerned, and I can answer as much as I can. But when something is more than 5 people, then it is my duty to be the voice of these people and say it. And Sadika is sitting over there, and she asked me to be kind. So I'm going to be kind, okay? There's nothing to be kind about. It's feedback. It's a feedback from everybody, right? And thank you very much for the feedback. And I'm sorry I haven't replied all of them, but I will. So the first feedback that I have 43 people asking for a Quran class. I keep on saying that Sheikh Anwar Jafar does do a Quran class during the weekdays. And there's also in the evenings, I think there's quite a lot of Quran classes. But they want one done by ladies. So Masuma, you were one of those people whose name comes up. So maybe we could do a Quran class on a weekly basis. I leave it up to the ladies committee to decide how they want to do it. And they want to do it in English and Gujarati. Okay, so I'm just telling you what their requests are. That's 43 of them. There was another one which was quite a, and this is again from a lot of people. I think I stirred a hornet's nest when I talked about weddings and boxed gifts. Got to be upset, didn't you? Anyway, so the positive thing that came out of it was, why can't we write on a wedding invitation, in lieu of gifts, raise your hands in dua for the couple? I thought that was beautiful. That was one of the best suggestions, and it's come from lots of people. You know, rather than say, we only want cash. I mean, really? Somebody gave you £1,000 cash and then said, but I'll pray for their happiness. Obviously, you're going to take the, yeah, okay. Take the thought. All right. The third thing was tabarruk. Again, I stirred a hornet's nest, okay? Now, tabarruk, yes, I take my words back. For some people who travel and take a long time to get here, I had one person tell me that it takes her 2 hours to get to here. And therefore, the tabarruk that she gets is like her brunch. So I'm really sorry if I said you should only have 1 date and water, okay? Go back to whatever you're having. And you know what? The generosity of the shayr is phenomenal. You can see it on the walk, can't you? For God's sakes, does it matter if I take 2 or 3 or 5? The men take more than 1. So it doesn't really matter, okay? So all I'm trying to say is I'm giving what I say. I know the ladies committee have so much on their plate and volunteers do a phenomenal job, but I have to mention this, and I'm trying to be as kind as possible, okay? The last one was posting of the majalis. I know many of the zakiras do not like their majalis online, so it is taken off at midnight. But sometimes people want to listen to it again to be able to go through what was said. So maybe that's something for AV to take on board. And here I have 56 people who wish for majalis to be available to them so they can go over it. Again, I missed some of Masuma's majlises, and I think they were phenomenal, at least the ones I heard. So it would be nice to be able to hear them again. All right, so have I put this kindly? Oh, say yes, please. Can I have a salawat, please? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajam. Okay. So qad aflaha al-mu'minun, 13 tick boxes, right? You got 13? You can't forget, no? 14 masumin, one is in ghaiba, 13, you know. Barabar? Okay. So 13, we went through khashi'un and hafidhun. You remember, you got to help me here. So 2 are based on salah. Then we had fa'ilun and yu'tuna. So they did zakah and they gave as much as they could. Then we had hafidhun and ra'un. They were trustworthy within their personal lives and trustworthy outside as well. Then we had mushfiqeen and wajila. You remember mushfiqeen? It was a combination of love and fear, all right? And then wajila was the hearts were trembling a little bit, okay? Then we had yu'minun, one on its own, which was with the Quran, and we talked about that yesterday. And then we had yesterday raji'un and sabiqun. They're absolutely sure they're going to die, and therefore before they die, they're going to do as many good deeds as possible, and they will always win. And finally, the 2 negations, the 2 crosses was, there was no lahu and there was no shirk. Are we good with that? Okay, so those are the 13. Hopefully we have those tick boxes, and then we will look at the tick boxes that the 11th Imam says, where he says, Alamatul mu'minin khams. The signs of mu'min are 5. And I've mentioned this before, but I will go into it. Before I go into it, I'd like to talk a little bit about Arba'een. Okay. Now, Sheikh Kumail Rajani, you might know him. He's in Exeter. He's a scholar. He makes life easy for me. So what he does is he does all the investigations, he does all the historical readings, and he sends them on a beautiful presentation. So just before Arba'een, just before any major occasion, he will send me the historical, if I can say, the historical data into what happened. So I'd like to tell you about Arba'een and what Sheikh Kumail Rajani says, and he's taken it, he's given references for every single one. What happened on the day of Arba'een. So I'm just going to go into, and remember, history does not rely on maybe. There's no such thing as maybe in history. It either happened or it doesn't happen. Now in our murthiyas, in our nohas, and what the zakirin say on the mimbar is what popular tradition is. So even what I will say in Masa'ib will be what the zakirin say for years on. So this is historical facts. So number 1, maybe the early scholars say that maybe on the day of Arba'een, and this is Sheikh Mufid, the Ahlul Bayt reached Medina. This is Sheikh Mufid, okay? Sheikh Dawood says that maybe the Ahlul Bayt reached Karbala. This is popular tradition. Tabari says that, in fact, Sheikh Mufid says Jabir may have reached, Jabir Ansari, may have reached Karbala on the day of Arba'een. Maybe, he says, but there's no mention of Atiya Ufi, you know, his companion, whom we will read about in Masaib. Jabir and Atiya reaching Karbala is by Tabari. I know these names are a little bit odd to you, but there's early century scholars and then late century scholars. And finally, Al-Buruni says that maybe on the day of Arba'een, the heads were buried with the bodies. But it is all a maybe. Now that doesn't mean you and I don't believe in it. But when we do it, we must understand this is what history talks about. It is not definitive. Arba'een is very important. Why is it important? Because the 5th Imam said that alamatul mu'min khams. The signs of a mu'min are 5. The first one, he says, is that a mu'min recites 51 rakats of salah. Basically what he's telling you and me is that that is the identity of Muslim. And at that time, at the time of the 11th Imam, you see, even today, you will have other Muslims who tell you, you don't pray Asr, you don't pray Isha, why do you mix it up? We only mix it at Arafat. Have you not heard? I go to interfaith places and they tell me that. Say, what is wrong with you? So this was an identification means to say that we do pray 51 rakats. All right, we know 17 is wajib, no? 51 minus 17? Oh, come on. 34. And like I told you before, at least if you can't manage 51, 19. 17, plus 2 sitting down after Isha, and 1 of witr. And then slowly we'll build it up to 51. If, you know, I don't know whether you see apps, but these apps tell me that if you want to lose weight, oh God, it's a problem, isn't it? Especially at my age. So if you want to lose weight, you got to walk so many steps. Forget about losing weight. To keep healthy, they tell you, my watch tells me, I don't know how many steps it's got. Anyway, it tells me how many steps to walk. In fact, they tell you the recommended one is 10,000. Is that what they tell you? That's only because that Japanese guy created that pedometer for 10,000 and he made it available. But if you walk between, and it's good to walk, by the way. The Prophet, when he was sad, he walked. Huh? So between 4,000 and 5,000 steps is good to walk. So if somebody told you and me, for optimum health, you may not need to walk, but pray 51 rakats. If you do not want to go to the doctor because you haven't moved, pray 51 rakats. We will do it because the doctor told us. Here, the doctor of the spirit and the doctor of the body and the doctor of the heart tells us, pray 51 rakats. How difficult can it be? How does it come to 51? Okay, I know you can see those questions. 2 Fajr, 8 Zohar, 8 Asr, 4 Maghrib, 2 Isha sitting down, and 11 for Salatul Layl. It can't be that difficult. If they told me, take medicine, take this pill. In fact, these days I hear about something called Ozempic and Monjaro, and oh, you're all smiling, I should have heard about it. So now, instead of this Ozempic, let's go for the natural one. 51 rakats, it will keep us healthy. Okay, I'm not going too much into it. The second one, Imam says, is that when they do sajda, they do it on earth. They do it on earth. No, we do it on the earth of Karbala. A little bit of earth of Karbala is mixed up. But he said they do it on earth, therefore they would have a mark. The third sign, he said, they wear their rings on the right hand. Why? There's a history behind it. Because the Banu Umayyah used to insist that you wear your akik and your firozas on your left hand. And the Ahlul Bayt said, no, right hand. Do you know why they put your wedding ring on your left hand? Because they said your heart is on your left side. This was the Greeks. And the Greeks said that the vein in your hand was connected to your heart. And when people got married, don't do this, please, okay? I repeat, don't do this. They used to cut their ring finger, and the man used to cut his ring finger, and then they used to mix the blood. But the British were chickens. So they said, rather than cutting, we will put a ring. Ring was also a sign of ownership. Because for their pigeons, they put on rings. You know, this is my pigeon and this is your pigeon. You can't change your ring. So the one that is really valuable, wear on your right hand. The haltu faltu can go on the left hand. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, so this one, really, really important. And Imam says this because the Ahlul Bayt said this, all right? You don't have to change right now. So that was the fourth one. And the fifth one was Ziyara Arba'een. I mentioned yesterday that people had all different things. They said maybe Imam meant ziyarah of 40 people. Maybe Ziyaratul Arba'een or the day of Arba'een was important because 40 people visited Imam Hussein. But Imam actually meant Ziyaratul Arba'een as taught by Imam Sadiq to his companion Safwan. And he didn't say just read it on the day of Arba'een. It's a short ziyarah. It takes 5 minutes. If somebody again told you and me that 5 minutes would change our lives, there are so many ahadiths that tell you this ziyarah can make the impossible possible. We'd pick it up and read it, right? Now we've given you papers that look something like this. If you haven't got them, I'm sure they can give them out to you. And I'll go over them before we recite Ziyaratul Arba'een. But before that, just something about number 40 so we know what number 40 is about. So, Inna sama bakat alal Hussein arba'ina sabaha. Imam Baqir. For 40 days, he says, the skies wept over Hussein. I'm just giving an importance of 40 and I'll tell you why, if you look at all what the scholars say, why 40 is important. If you dedicate yourself to Allah for 40 days, springs of wisdom will come out of your mouth. 40 days. Just dedicate yourself. Recite anything for 40 days. Do anything for 40 days. It will become a habit. Even a baby has a 6-week checkup. Because after 40 days, things settle down. So 40 days is a good thing to think about. Adam wept for 40 days for Habil. I'm just giving you some information. The flood of Noah, you know, was 40 days. But most of the 40 in the Quran, Arba'een, is connected to Prophet Musa. Have you seen it? وَوَعَدْنَا مُوسَى أَرْبَعِينَ لَيْلَةً ثَلَاثِينَ plus 10 and then Arba'een. 40 days on the mountain. 40 days for what? To get this sort of connection with him, right? Rasulullah, when did he get Risala? I mean, when he was apparent Risala was 40. He knew he was a prophet, but apparent Risala was 40. Okay? If you look at Suratul Ahqaf, Surah number 46, Ayah 15, it starts off something like, وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ إِحْسَانًا. We have made it obligatory on a human being to do ihsan to his parents. But then it says, when this person reaches the age of 40, he gets a little bit of akal, right? Because what does he say? Rabbi awzi'ni an ashkura ni'ma. Oh, we all know it. Okay. So my Rabb, give me the ability to show gratitude to you and to show gratitude to my parents. I'll go a step further. And gratitude to my community. In Nigeria, they say, it takes a village to raise a child. Had it not been for this phenomenal community, I don't know where we would be. So at 40, there's this maturity that comes in. The sixth Imam says, after you reach 40, there's no excuses. Don't say you have any excuses now. You've got some sort of maturity coming in, right? If you assist a blind man for 40 steps, Jannah becomes a wajib for you. If you've got an illness, 40 times Surah Al-Fatiha on water, any illness is cured. 40 times Surah Al-Fatiha. Okay. It's funny because I was saying this to somebody, and she said, "Noti tatu, tik tatu jo noti, 40 fere pairi." She said, and this is her answer herself. She said, "Kadaj wo fast pairi was." How about aseti paris? Okay, it's not like that. You read it 40 times, Surah Al-Fatiha. Okay, 40 days of salah, dua is not accepted if you backbite someone. I'm just going through what Hadith tells me, right? And the most beautiful one. There's more than 40 of us here. When 40 people raise their hands in dua, Imam Baqir says there is nothing that Allah will not accept. So I'm going to give you half a minute, okay? So it's phenomenal. The duas are answered. Please pray for the people of Gaza. And then the Prophet said, if you preserve 40 of my ahadith, then you will be raised with the scholars of the Ummah. I'm going to give you one hadith. We've done so many. Do you know, I'm 65. Since I was in my mother's womb, I've been coming to the mosque. So I've been listening to majlis after majlis after majlis. Surely I should know 40, but I'll give you one. Smile. Because the Prophet said, shortest hadith is, smile. It changes people's outlook. If you just smile, it just makes a difference to who you are, okay? So that, in essence, first of all, it's number 40. Now, why is Arba'een so important? So important that Sayyid Sistani did not say on the day of Ashura that don't do it on different days. You saw it, didn't you? Whether you follow the horizon or you don't, or what, I'm not going into moon sighting right now. But basically, he didn't say do it on one day and do it the other. I think my sister in Orlando did it the day before, we did the day after. But for Arba'een, he said, for unity, we're going to do it on one day. Amina called me and she said, Majlis starts a day before. Monday, according to us, 20th of Safar is tomorrow, is it not? Yet we are doing Arba'een today. So there must be something in this day that is different. What is it? You see, it takes 40 days to change. We have been, I can't say addicted, attached. And I can say addicted to Hubbal Hussein Ajunnani. We have been attached to Hussein for 50 days. 10 days before Ashura, and then from Ashura to Arba'een, right? We've been attached to him. Surely in those 40 days, there has been an awakening in the heart, an awakening of the intellect, an awakening of the spirit, and something that tells me I need to keep this up. I need to do more of this. What I am doing here is giving me some peace. This farsh is doing something to me. It is causing a change in me. Arba'een is important so that the human being sits down and thinks, who am I? Who do I want to be? Incidentally, there is no Arba'een for anyone, not even for the Prophet. We do chalismo for our marhum, fair enough. There's no harm in doing a majlis, but there's no wajibat, there's nothing there written. The Arba'een is only of Hussein. One man who draws over 25 million people. Is it not? You read it, I read it too. You read the statistics. They tell me Karbala expands. How can this small place accommodate so many people? It's a miracle on earth. Therefore the heart expands. And this 40th today is a phenomenal day, absolutely phenomenal. So we're going to look at the ziyarah, okay? Because that's what was recommended to read. So if you've got the book with you, you've got the QR code up there, get it on your phones, wherever you are, and we're going to go through the ziyarah and take it from there. Still got a little bit of time. So first of all, the ziyarah, and by the way, if you look at my ziyarah, okay, you need color pencils. I'm sure your children will buy them for you, okay? You need to highlight stuff. If you've got a pen, use a pen. Nothing wrong. I'm not very good at the online stuff. I prefer things in my hand. So ziyarah is actually an expression of love. It comes from the Arabic word zawr. Zawr means to deflect, to turn away. So ziyarah means you turn away from everyone except the one whose ziyarah you're doing. Right? So if I'm doing the ziyarah of someone, my total focus is on them. Don't you think it's irritating when somebody comes to visit you and they have their phone with you? They sit on the dining table and they take their phone out. Even if they put it the other way around, it's a distraction. Don't take it out. You've come to visit me, talk to me. If somebody is dying, they will die anyway. And they will let you know. Sawa. If it's an emergency, they will call you. They will call the person you're visiting. Just let them know you're there. So ziyarah means total focus. Now this is 5 minutes. So total focus on Imam. It is tawalla and tabarra. You know, when we did this in madrasa, they said tawalla tabarra is a common kind of furu din ma. Namaz awairu, roja awairu, hajj awairu, zakat awairu, kumsa awairu. Tawalla tabarra, what the heaven is they talking about, right? So tawalla in essence is perfection, running towards perfection. Every single one of us wants to be better. Even when we get old, we want to be better. That is why, and I keep on saying this, please don't take me to task for this. There's a song that says, Tujme Rab dikhta hai. We are inclined towards those in whom we see our Rab. That is why the love for Hussein. You look at Hussein, you see Allah. Do you not? That is how it works. So ziyarah is running towards the person whom you see as perfection and going away. Tabarra means running away or disassociating yourself from imperfection. So when I look at Yazid and I look at Hussein, who do I run towards? Obviously, I run towards Hussein. I move away from Yazid. I look at Asya and Fir'aun. I look at anything, Ibrahim and Namrud. I look at Imam Zaynul Abidin and I look at him in the court of Yazid. All those things when I think about it, but in the worldly sense, and I look at Yazid, I think, oh my goodness, what a beautiful crib. What beautiful clothes. And I look at Imam and I think, in chains, battered, what is wrong? So it's got to be something from the spirit that takes me there. That's what ziyarah is about, okay? Now we divided the ziyarah into 7 parts. This is taught by Imam Sadiq to his companion called Safwan. Very reliable companion, because we have a lot of hadith from Safwan, okay? So Imam teaches this to Safwan, and he says, Safwan, when it comes to the day of Arba'een, Safwan, go and visit Hussein. Go and visit Hussein an early afternoon recite Ziyaratul Arba'een. Recite the words that I'm telling you. Now, if you and I think that Imam has not called you and me to Karbala, he's got work for us here as well. Okay, so don't feel like that. There was a man, Ayatollah Bahjat narrates this. He says there were these people going for ziyarah to Mashhad. And as they were walking to Mashhad, everybody they met on the way, they said, let's go to ziyarah. So as they come by this person, he's a farmer, and they say, come on, we're going to Mashhad, quickly, close everything and come. He says, I can't come. I can't come because I have a family to look after. I have my animals to look after. My family may be able to look after themselves, but I have young children. And what about my animals? I'm the only one who gets up at 5 o'clock and looks after them. They said, oh my goodness, you're so business-minded. All you're worrying about is your family and your work. Come, we're going to Ziyara. Just here, Mashhad, we'll come back. He said, I can't go. But they pestered him. And they told him things that weren't nice. So he turned towards Mashhad and he said, Assalamu alayka yabna Rasulullah. And all of them heard an answer. Wa alayka salam. So even if you were to say it from here, there are reasons why we can't go. We all want to go. But there may be reasons we can't go. Whatever it may be, it doesn't stop us from saying, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. It doesn't stop us, okay? So let's just keep that in mind when we're talking about it. So 7 sections. The first section you've got is salam. Can you see it? You've got 5 salams there. And if you turn your page, then where it says section 3, Imam's mission continued, you've got 2 more salams. So in the ziyarah, there are 7 salams. Why am I doing this? So that when we recite it, you're mindful, okay? So it starts off by saying, Assalamu ala waliyillahi wa habibi. Waliyullah is Rasulullah. So the first one is saying salams on Rasulullah. The second one, Assalamu ala Khalilullah wa Naji. Who was Khalilullah? Prophet Ibrahim. Assalamu ala Safiyullah. Who was Safiyullah? Prophet Adam. And then we say Assalamu ala al-Husayn al-Madlumish Shaheed. We talk to Imam Hussein. Then we're telling him Assalamu ala Asir al-Kurabat. The one who was a prisoner of torment, the amount of stuff that was told to him. But then it says, وَقَتِيلِ الْعَبَرَاتِ. One who was, when his killing caused tears to flow. Now there's a dua, maybe you can look it up. It's called Dua al-Abarat. Abarat means tears. You read Dua al-Mashlul, you say, Ya Rahim al-Abarat. Abarat is tears. Now Dua al-Abarat, Google it, or put it in your search engine. I think duas.org has it. It's a dua taught by Imam Zamana Ajjalallahu Farajallahu Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. If you have a time where you have great suffering and hardship, and I mean great suffering and hardship, I don't mean to trivialize this, but it's not when my scarf doesn't match my outfit. That's not great suffering and hardship. When things are really, really difficult, recite Dua al-Abarat. Because he starts off with Allahumma inni as'aluka ya rahim al-abarat. You know when those tears don't stop flowing, look up that dua. When you just cannot console someone, or you can't console yourself, recite Dua al-Abarat. Okay, and recite this ziyarah. So that's section 1. Section 2 is Imam's status with Allah. So you will see on the 3rd line, Akramtahu bishahada. He honored you with shahada. وَهَبَوْتَهُ بِالسَّعَادَةِ. He gifted you with success. Hiba is a gift. Sa'ada is like falah. You and I want falah, then we have to be Husseini. We have to be Husseini. And because if he's gifted with success, then obviously it's not rocket science. Attachment to him will gift us with success as well. Let me ask you a question. There is Imam. Is he not Sayyidi Shababi Ahlil Jannah? Is he not? Which means he owns Jannah. Yes? He owns it. He's got it. Sayyidi Shababi Ahlil Jannah. I mean, why would they go through all this difficulty? We have already got Jannah. Yasin. What is Habib told? Ki lad kulil Jannah. Enter Jannah. Qala. Ya layta qawmi ya'lamu bima ghafara li rabbi wa ja'alini minal mukramin. He doesn't say, oh yes, I got Jannah, that's it. He says, I wish my people knew how to be forgiven. Did he not say that? And how easy it was. This is why Sayyid Shahada does it. Why did he go through all this? So that you and I could get this message of what success is about. Okay, in the same thing you'll see, وَأَعْتَيْتَهُ مَوَارِيثَ الْأَنْبِيَاءِ. So he was granted the inheritance of the prophets. So the second one is the status with Allah. The third section is Imam's mission. He kept on telling them, you have to do this to reach your full potential. Now I've taken a few of his words so that we can take it. He tells the people that he's facing, the people of Yazid, the army of Yazid, he tells them, if you don't believe in any religion and don't fear Qiyamah, at least be free. He tells them, know that the needs of people, this is what he's telling them in Karbala, by the way. Know that when people have a need and they ask you for a need, it is the greatest of blessings. Don't send them away. Those who need to come to you, don't send them away. Avoid bullying the one who has nobody but Allah. Avoid that, because it's going to get back at you. He says, whoever sorts out the problem of a believer, this is day of Ashra, by the way. Whoever sorts out the problem of a believer, Allah sorts his problems out in the dunya and the akhirah. Even if it's making a bit of space so they can sit near you. Anyone who dishonors the dignity of someone, keep away from that person. And my most favorite one, you deserve Jannah. Don't sell yourself for anything less. These are Imam's words. You can read all his words, right? Fifth section is la'na. And God, we are so scared of la'na. Somehow when somebody says la'na, we say, oh, Muslims, they don't curse. Allah does la'na. La'na is a dua to withdraw mercy from those who are deliberately doing something wrong. Come back to this world today. Is there not someone whom you would like to send la'na on? Is he not deliberately killing children? Yes or no? Is he not deliberately maiming children, ruining houses, killing children, killing women, killing innocent people? What would you want to do to him? Would you not want to say la'na to him? I rest my case. So the fifth section, فَلَعْنَ اللَّهُ مَنْ قَتَلَكَ وَلَعْنَ اللَّهُ مَنْ ظَلَمَكَ. Withdraw your mercy because they know what they're doing. If they didn't know, it's something different. They know. وَلَعْنَ اللَّهُ أُمَّةً سَمِيَتْ بِذَلِكَ فَرَضِيَتْ بِهِ. Even withdraw your mercy on the people who heard about it and rejoiced. Right? Quran is full of la'na. Allah's la'na. Surah number 33, Surah Al-Ahzab, ayah 57, I think. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يُؤْذُونَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. Those who hurt Allah and His Prophet, la'anahumullah, Allah will send His la'na on them. What did the Prophet say? Hussein minni wa ana minal Hussein. Al-Fatimatu bid'atu minni. So hurting Hussein is hurting the Prophet. Hurting the Prophet is hurting Allah. It's not rocket science. Yes, you cannot abuse. Quran calls abuse sab. You cannot abuse someone. But you can definitely ask for la'na. Okay, section 6 is bearing witness. Now, bearing witness starts from your first page. It then goes onto the second page, and then in the back of the third page, you've got lots of bearing witness. But in essence, what we're bearing witness to is the origin, is the status of Imam. So we're saying, Ya Imam, you have this nur in you. Remember we talked about nur, which the nur of Allah that came on the mountain and the mountain broke apart. This is what nur is about. And the moment you read this, when you say, Ashhadu annaka kunta nuran fil aslabish shamikha, you think of 33. إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. That's his Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil faraja. So this is actually becoming a witness and saying, I bear witness that your origin is phenomenal. And if you turn the page, I bear witness that the A'imma, we say, وَأَشْهَدُ أَنَّ الْأَئِمَّةَ مِنْ وُلْدِكَ كَلِمَةُ التَّقْوَى. You have a pure progeny. I need to know all these Masumin. And the bit that I think is absolutely phenomenal, What I've left out, by the way, is section 4, which is the psyche of his killers. Let me go in there for a minute. So section 4 is the psyche of his killers. Why did they do what they do? Why do people who do zulm do what they do? And this is looking at myself, not anybody else, looking inside myself. There are 4 reasons that are given here. I'm not going to read the whole thing because you're going to read it and you're going to look at the translation. First one is a level of arrogance. My way or the highway. Now, as a mother-in-law, we do that a lot, right? He rotli aam જ હોવી જોઈએ. બિચારી પાકિસ્તાની રોટલી બનાવે છે. It's okay if it's jadi, it doesn't matter. But નહીં, અમારા ઘરમાં પાતળી રોટલી ખવડાવે. That's arrogance. Because you're not letting somebody be who they are. We might look outside, you got to look inside. Second one, animal instincts. If you look here, you will see how they went back to animal instincts, right? So he says, غَرَّتْهُ الدُّنْيَا, the dunya deceived them, وَبَاعَ حَظَّهُ بِالْأَرْضِ لِلْعَدْنَى, and they went back to their origins, their original animal instincts. That's number 2. And the third thing is sheer greed. I want more and more and more. If you look at Ibn Ziyad, very intelligent, intellectual guy. He spoke with Imam Hussein so many times. And then in his head he thought, you know what? If I don't do this, I won't get the governorship of Ray. Ray was a massive place. So I won't get the governorship of Ray. And he said, but Allah is Ghafurur Rahim. In his mind, his Akkal said, Allah is Ghafurur Rahim. If I kill Hussein, then I will get the governorship of Ray. I will go back to Allah and I'll say, I'm really sorry, astaghfirullah rabbi wa atubu ilayh. And everything will be fine. So he logified it in his head. This is a psyche, okay? This is amazing psyche. Okay, so if we continue and go right at the end, and I'm just going to finish off here. وَأَمْرِي لِأَمْرِكُمْ مُتَّبِعٌ. Now that particular bit, when I read it, and I keep on reading it, and I think, oh my goodness, it says, my affairs are in accordance with your orders. So I have to know what the orders of Hussein were. And I went through some of them with you. But we need to, if I'm going to say this, and remember I'm saying it, I'm reciting a ziyarah. It's not lip service. Then I must know what Hussein's orders were. I will just draw your attention to what I said at the end, which was, you deserve Jannah. Don't sell yourself for less. And finally, and you know, if you forget everything about this ziyarah, my father taught me this when I was that small. Every Arba'een, he wouldn't make us read the whole ziyarah. We were too little. But he said, you know which ziyarah we're reading today? Ma'akum, ma'akum. So we remembered the ziyarah by ma'akum, ma'akum. Every Arba'een, it was ma'akum, ma'akum. So if you forget everything I've said today, just remember, ma'akum, ma'akum. I am with you, I am with you. And then it goes and says, la ma'aduikum, I'm not with your enemies. Khalas. So if anybody says, with ziyarah, I'm listening. Ma'akum, ma'akum. It's a phenomenal ziyarah. And finally, there is a salawat at the end, okay? So, આપણે એક salawat પડશું, please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil faraja. આપણે અસ્માઉલ હુસ્ના જોઈ છે. તો આ જો ઝિયારતમાં આપણે છેલ્લું સલવાતમાં જોશું, એક જ નામ છે અલ્લાહનું. રબ્બુલ આલમીન. અમે હરેક નમાઝ શરૂ કરે છે અલ્હમ્દુલિલ્લાહી રબ્બિલ આલમીન. તો જે નામ અલ્લાહનું છે, જે ઓલા નવાનું નામમાં નથી, જેવી રીતના અલ્લાહ ઓલા નવાનું નામમાં નથી, પણ જો આપણે બધા નામ અલ્લાહના, બધા નવાનું એક પોટમાં નાખે, એક સુફરિયામાં નાખે, ને પછી એ સુફરિયાને ફરાવે તો એક ચીજ નીકળશે, અલ્લાહ અને રબ. સો રબ, હરેક નબી જ્યારે અલ્લાહને પુકારતા હતા, તો લોકો પુકારતા હતા રબ, રબ્બી, રબ્બના, જે તમે જોવો રબ જે પણ હોય, પણ રબ એક યાને પર્સનલાઇઝ. જો મને પર્સનલાઇઝ કરવું હોય કોઈ વસ્તુ, તો હું રબને વાપરું. ઓકે, રબ કોણ છે? તો ઉલમા અમને કહે છે 5 વસ્તુ છે રબ. પહેલી વસ્તુ છે રબ માલિક છે. જ્યારે હું રબ વિચાર કરું તો પહેલી વસ્તુ વિચાર કરું માલિક. બીજી વસ્તુ વિચાર કરું સૈયદ. માલિક યાને જેની વસ્તુ છે. સૈયદનું મતલબ જે કંટ્રોલ કરે છે બધી વસ્તુ, નહીં કંટ્રોલ કરે છે. ત્રીજી વસ્તુ રબ મુરબ્બી છે, એક માની જેમ, યાને આસ્તે આસ્તે આ ગોસના કટકાને ઇન્સાન બનાવે છે, એને રબ કહેવાય છે. રબ કાયમ છે. રબ કાયમનું મતલબ કે કાંઈ તૂટી જતું હોય ને તો એ ભેગું કરશે, યાને સાથે રાખશે. ઓકે, સૌથી વધારે દિલ તૂટી જતું હોય તો એના પાસે જાય. ને રબ મુનઇમ છે. મુનઇમનું મતલબ એને એ કે જે મને હિબા આપશે, જે મને ગિફ્ટ્સ આપશે, જે મને પ્રેઝન્સ આપશે. તો ઓલુમાં કહે છે જ્યારે રબનું વિચાર આવે ત્યારે 5 વસ્તુ. પહેલી દુઆ જે હતી ઇન્સાનની, નબી આદમની ને, એ શું કહે છે? રબ્બના ઝલમના અનફુસના. આપણે જાણીએ છીએ ને એ દુઆ. ઓકે, સૂરતુલ આરાફમાં છે, વ ઇલ્લમ તગફિર લના વ તરહમના લનકૂનન્ના મિનલ ખાસિરીન. જો તું મારા ઉપર રહમ નહીં કર, તું મને માફ નહીં કર તો ખલાસ હું. તો પહેલી દુઆમાં પણ છે રબ્બના. મુનાજાત ઇમામ અલી, મૌલાયા યા મૌલાયા અંતર રબ વ અનલ મરબૂબ. તો રબ અમે જ્યાં પણ જોશું, જો તમે ગૂગલ કરશો દુઆ ફોર ડેસ્પરેશન, ટ્રાય કર્યા છે? ટ્રાય કરો ગૂગલ કરવા. તો એ નબી મૂસાની દુઆ છે. તમે જાણો છો ને કઈ દુઆ છે, રાઈટ? રબ્બી ઇન્ની લિમા અંઝલતુ લૈકા મિન ખૈરિન ફકીર. દુઆ ઓફ ડેસ્પરેશન. નબી નૂની દુઆ, રબ્બી અન્ની મગલુબુન ફંતસિર. આપણે કુનૂતમાં શું કરે છે? રબ્બના આતિના ફિદ દુનિયા. There we go. હરેક દુઆમાં જે પર્સનલાઇઝ છે, જે એમાં છે રબ. જો અમારી એક આદત થઈ ગઈ છે આ ગામમાં રહીને કે કાંઈ થાય તો અમે કહીએ જીસસ ક્રાઇસ્ટ. ને નબી ઈસાનું નામ લેવા કાંઈ ખરાબ નથી, કારણ કે નબી ઈસા છે ને. પણ એના બદલી અમે બદલાવીને કે યા રબ્બી. શું ફરક પડશે? યા રબ્બી. ઇટ્સ નોટ ડિફિકલ્ટ. યાની જ્યારે ગુસ્સો આવે, જ્યારે કાંઈ પણ આવે તો યા રબ્બી. ને આ ઝિયારતમાં અમે જોશું એન થાય છે રબ્બુલ આલમીન. ખાલી એક થોડુંક જબાનને બદલાવવાની જરૂર છે. ઓકે, તો આપણે જરાક મસાઈબ તરફ જાશું ને, કારણ કે હું એક્સપ્લેન કરી કે અરબઈન કઈ વસ્તુ છે. આ બતોરે તબરુક છે, આ નાનપણથી સાંભળી છું ને આ ઝાકિરીન પડે છે, ઓલમા પણ પડે છે. પણ એક નિયત મગજમાં છે કે મને નથી ખબર આ બધી વસ્તુ થઈ અરબઈનના દિવસે કે બીજા કોઈ દિવસે થઈ. આઈ નો ઇટ હેપન, મને ખબર છે થયું છે, પણ નથી ખબર અરબઈનના દિવસે થયું કે નહીં. તો જો મેં અરબઈનનું જ્યારે વિચાર કરે તો એક રિવાયત છે જે કહે છે કે અરબઈનના દિવસે જાબિર ઇબ્ને અબ્દુલ્લાહ અંસારી, એની આંખની નિભાઈ નહોતી જ્યારે એ મદીનામાં હતા. એ નથી ખબર કે મદીના કે મક્કામાં હતા, પણ જો મદીનામાં હતા તો આશુરાના 10 દિવસ પછી જ્યારે એ લોકોને ખબર પડે છે કે કદ કુતિલલ હુસૈન, તો એની પહેલી વસ્તુ હતી કે હું કરબલા જાઉં, હું જાઉં મારા હબીબના બાજુ. તો કહેવાય છે કે એ અતિયા ઓફીને કહે છે, અતિયા ઓફી એનો ફ્રેન્ડ હોય છે, કે તું મને લઈ જા, કારણ કે મને દેખાતું નથી, ઝઈફી છે, મને હેલ્પ ખપશે, તું મને લઈ જા. ને એના સાથે ઘણા બધા બની હાશમના સાથે ગયા હતા. તો એ લોકો જાય છે કરબલાના તરફ. મદીનાથી કરબલા ઘણું બધું ડિસ્ટન્સ છે. કરબલા જ્યારે પહોંચે છે તો એ અતિયાને કહે છે કે તું પેલા મને લઈ જા ફુરાતમાં, તો હું ગુસલ કરું. આજનું દિવસ ગુસલ કરવા મુસ્તહબ છે. તો એ ગુસલ કરવા જાય છે. ગુસલ કરે છે પછી અતિયાને કહે છે તારા પાસે અંતર છે તો આપણે થોડુંક અંતર નાખીએ. અત્યા પાસે થોડુંક હતું તો એને આપે છે. પછી આસ્તે આસ્તે ચાલે છે કબરે હુસૈન સુધી. અમને કહેવાય છે એક એક સ્ટેપ અમે જો જાય ઇમામ હુસૈનના તરફ તો એટલા સ્ટેપ્સ અમારા ગુનાહ માફ થાય છે, એટલું અમારા માટે યાને સવાબ લખાય છે. એટલે આસ્તે આસ્તે ચાલવાનું. અહીંયા આવે ત્યારે આસ્તે આસ્તે, ખાલી લાડીમાં તે નથી કે આસ્તે આસ્તે ચાલે, આપણે પણ આસ્તે આસ્તે ચાલે, કારણ કે આપણે હુસૈન પાસે આવે છે. તો આ જાબિર અમને શીખવાડે છે કે આસ્તે આસ્તે ઇમામ હુસૈન પાસે જાય છે. જ્યારે કબર પાસે પહોંચે છે તો એ કબરના ઉપર પોતાને પછારી નાખે છે ને કહે છે યા હબીબી, એ મારું દોસ્ત. હવે અરબ કલ્ચરમાં જ્યારે ઇન્સાનને દુઃખ હોય તો એ જોરથી બોલે, તો એ 3 ફેરે જોરથી કહે છે યા હુસૈન, યા હુસૈન, યા હુસૈન. આસ્તેથી ન બોલે, જોરથી બોલે. સાયન્સમાં એમને કહેવાય છે કે જો અમને દુઃખ હોય ને અમે બહાર કાઢી નાખીએ ને તો અંદર ગુંજાય નહીં, બીમારી નહીં થાય. તો એ 3 ફેરે કે છે યા હુસૈન, યા હુસૈન, યા હુસૈન. અતિયા કે છે કે હું સાંભળું છું કે જાબિર કે છે યા હબીબી, એ મારો દોસ્ત, માલા યારિફુલ હબીબ, તે ઓળખ્યું નહીં હબીબને. પોતે પોતે બોલે છે કે છે મારો દોસ્ત, તું મને ઓળખતો નથી, હું તને સલામ કરું છું, જવાબ નથી. પછી પોતે પોતે કે છે કે કેવી રીતના તું મને જવાબ આપીશ? મને કહેવાનું છે કે આ તારો સર તો બીજે ઠેકાણે છે, તો યા હબીબ તું કેવી રીતના મને જવાબ આપીશ? અત્યારે કે છે હું જોઉં છું કે થોડીક વાર પછી યાને એને ચકરી આવી જાય છે, તો કે હું આટલું બધું પાણી લઈને એના ઉપર છાંટું છું, હજી તો પાણી છાંટું છું તો અવાજ આવે છે કે કોઈ આવે છે છેટેથી. જોઉં છું તો એક કારવાન છે જે અસીરાને અહલુલ બેત છે. આ રિવાયત છે, અલ્લાહુ યાલમ. અસીરાને અહલુલ બેત આવે છે તો એ કહે છે હું જાબીરને કહું છું આપણે ખસકી જાય અહીંયાથી, કારણ કે અહલુલ બેતની બીબી આવે છે. ક્યારે આવ્યા નથી ખબર. એક બીબી ભાગે છે ઇમામ હુસૈનના પાસે એ કહે છે ભાઈ મને તને કેવું છે કે કૂફા ને શામમાં શું થયું? ભાઈ તે મને અમાનત આપી, દીનની અમાનત આપી, આ બધી ઔરતોની અમાનત આપી, બચ્ચાની અમાનત આપી, ઇમામ ઝૈનુલ આબિદીનની અમાનત હતી, હું બધાની ધ્યાન રાખી, પણ શર્મિંદા છું કે એક બચ્ચીને હું શામ મૂકી આવી છું. એક બીજી બીબી નાની કબર ઉપર જાય છે ને કે છે અસગર માં પાછી આવી ગઈ, અસગર માં સકીનાને નથી લઈ આવી. પછી આ બીબી જમીનને કે છે એ જમીને કરબલા તું ધ્યાન રાખ મારા બચ્ચાની, કારણ કે મારા બચ્ચાને બહુ લાગ્યું છે. જો આ જમીન આ જો જમીન છે જો એના જખમમાં જાશે તો એ જમીને કરબલા એને દુખશે, તું મારા બચ્ચાની ધ્યાન રાખ. લોકો બહુ દિવસ કરબલામાં રહ્યા નહીં. કોઈ રિવાયતમાં છે ખાલી 2 દિવસ રહ્યા. જ્યારે 2 દિવસ રહ્યા તો હરેક મહેમેલ ઉપર જાય છે, એક એક જન ઊંટ ઉપર જાય છે તો સૈયદા ઝૈનબ ગણે છે એક એક જણને, જોઈ છે કે એક બીબી નથી. મક્તલના તરફ જાય છે, જોઈ છે તો કબરે હુસૈન ઉપર એક બીબી છે. કે છે ભાભી ભાભી ચાલો આપણે ઘર જાય છે. તો કે ઘરે જઈને હું શું કરીશ? હું શું કરીશ? મારા મૌલા નથી, મારી બચ્ચી નથી, હું શું જાય? મને અહીંયા જ રહેવું છે. હસતે હસીને સમજાવે છે. જ્યારે મદીના પહોંચે છે તો કુલસુમ એક મોટું પોએમ લખે છે. એક જ વાત છેલ્લે કહીશ કે કુલસુમ કે છે મદીના તું જદ્દીના, એ મારા જદના મદીના, લા તકબલીના, તું અમને કબૂલ નહીં કર. અમે ગયા બધાને લઈને અમે પાછા આવે છે ખાલી હાથે. ઇન્ના લિલ્લાહી વ ઇન્ના ઇલૈહિ રાજીઉન સયઅલમુન અલ્લઝીના ઝલમુ અય્ય મુનકલિબિન યનકલિબૂન. આપણે અલ્લાહ પાસે દુઆ કરીએ કે આપણને તૌફીક આપે કે અમે આ 13 વસ્તુ અમારી જિંદગીમાં અપનાવે, અમે એની કિતાબને સમજે, અમારા જિંદગીમાં અપનાવે. અમે તને વાસ્તા દે છે સકીનાના, તને વાસ્તા દે છે ઉમ્મે રૂબાબના, અલી અસ્કરના, સૈયદ શહદાના, કે દુનિયામાં જે જુલ્મ થઈ રહ્યું છે ખુદાયા તું જેના ઉપર ઝૂમ થઈ રહ્યું છે લોકોને તું આસાન ફતકબ્બલ મિન્ના ઇન્નકા અંતસ સમીઉલ અલીમ.